It's scary stuff.
Scary stuff. Spooky, scary skeletons. Whoa, that's a little loud today. Woo! What is up, everybody? Hey. I finally got Christian back on the podcast today.
What up, gang?
What up? Here to talk a little bit about, is your house haunted? What might actually be going on with some of those noises, some thoughts, and some creaks that you hear along the way. As is usual, we're going to watch a quick video to get your feedback. I'm intrigued. Liv told us it's a long one, so let Christian prime it up over here.
There's something very dark in here.
This person is.
I've seen a lot of things down drains, but I've never seen anything like this. There's things down there that are just kind of scary.
Paranormal home inspection.
The activity is getting a little bit more aggressive.
Oh, this is so they're like literally testing for paranormal activity. Oh, well, yeah, we know
Not
this.
long after moving into this
Did you not
century
see this
home,
paranormal
our
activity?
client Catherine
I've
began
seen the movie.
experiencing
This is
the
a TV show.
unexplainable.
I would
do
go
another
past
one, and
the
then I'll just
closet
jump out of
door
the
and come
crowd like a home
downstairs, and then I'd go back
inspector
upstairs and the closet door
Oh
would
my
be
gosh.
open.
Well,
I was overcome with a smell. I had a beautiful fishbowl, and it had
minutes? Holy
exploded
shit.
everywhere.
As far as we've ever been told, there's no key for this deadbolt. And we'd leave every day for lunch and leave the door unlocked, right? And we'd lock the gate here. Twice, when we came back, the deadbolt was locked. The only way you can lock this door is from the inside. No one's ever here while we're working.
Knowing that Catherine never had a formal house inspection done when she bought her home, it's clearly time for certified home inspector Brian Daly to shine his flashlight on the matter. After a thorough inspection of the more
This is a real
routine
TV
residential
show.
trouble
That's for sure.
areas,
What is it called?
Brian has given
Paranormal
a
activity.
detailed list
Right?
of
Paranormal
hotspots
home inspectors? That was
documented
the
on
actual
shelf
thing?
from our home.
We're going to have to talk to
First
Sam
thing on the
Wilson about the
checklist is
paranormal
something
home
about a
inspection
fishbowl,
101.
and that was in the kitchen. There's our fishbowl. Now,
All right.
that looks like a newer bowl, obviously. The old one, according to my notes from
There's a
Michelle, kind
goldfish
of looked
in
like
there.
a brandy glass. Now, that glass is really thin.
A hairline crack, lots
I
of
can't
water
even take this
pressure,
serious.
vibration
I'm not
from
going to lie.
the
I
street
can't
noise.
even.
It's a no-brainer.
So
Do we
that
need to
one
watch
is
the whole thing?
Definitely
We
off
need to
the
watch
list.
the whole thing? I'm just going to start
I was
talking
told by
about
Michelle
it.
that this deadbolt
this
was giving
to me
problems
is
and it
wild.
kept,
And
locking on its
Christian's
own.
speeding it up.
You slam the door a certain
He's
way, that
in the
lock will
house,
slam
turning
shut.
the lock.
It's just a spring-loaded
He's
mechanism
checking the
that
lock.
can happen.
That's what he's supposed
Absolutely.
to do.
All right, let's have a look.
Here's
the
like
They were
drains.
saying that locked from the inside, but he's in the fucking
So this
house.
helps us just see a little bit further on down. I've seen a lot of things down drains, but I've never seen anything like this.
It's not what I expected to see at all. There's things down there that are just kind of scary. We need to get a contractor in to have a look at that.
Okay, we're gonna go upstairs and
It's
have
a
a
fucking
look
drain,
at
yeah.
closet door. Right off the top, I can see that our floor
So
is
basically, this
sagged a
TV
little
show
bit.
is
Door at the
crazy
top of the stairs is
homeowner.
an easy one. It's not level to begin with
More
because
like
the floor is
paranoid
shifted, so it naturally
homeowner.
wants to open.
These old latches also never latch properly. One of the things we do know is that we've got newer windows in the house. With newer windows, it creates a tight building envelope. Every time you open a front door, doors swing
I'm a little
open.
bit at a loss
Plus,
of words. Like,
well,
why
homeowner
is
has
this
a
even a
cat.
TV show?
Oh
A
my
cat
God,
is
I
always
bet.
pawing at something,
So,
always trying to get
there's
inside
cat.
closets. So
Make sure you take a
probably
picture of the
swung
scary
it open
cat.
just like that. This is something that I'm
All right,
going to be checking
so
off
here's
my
the
list.
thing.
Okay,
In
my
different
notes tell me
markets,
that in this room, there's a strong smell of
So in
mustiness.
different markets, paranormal activity can
I got
be
a really good
benefit
sense
and
of
a
smell,
loss,
and I
and I
don't
think for
smell
some
anything in
people,
this room. But there
this
is
could be a
evidence
real
that
value
we've obviously
add.
had a roof leak at
But I
one point in
think,
time that's been repaired.
There's nothing going
To
on
be
there. I
honest,
think the
this,
homeowner's just smelling things.
Okay,
this highlights
master
everything that I think
bedroom.
is
First of all,
ridiculous
there's our
about it.
Bro,
culprit,
you
the
could
cat.
pay me
Now, my list
to
tells
film
me
this,
that
and
the
I would have just as
homeowner
good of production, if not
has heard
better.
noises in the attic.
We're not talking about production quality.
Okay,
Where we
sorry,
are
I
in the
jumped
city,
subjects
it's an area
there
that's
real quick.
Christian, the
notorious for animals
photographer
getting
now.
on the roof, getting into the attic space.
Here's
There's
my
probably
perspective.
raccoons trying to
I
get
feel
together
like
and
this
make baby
highlights
raccoons.
everything about home inspections that
Oh yeah.
Definitely
isn't what a
raccoons.
home
I
inspection
stuck
is
my head
for.
up in the attic and I saw the evidence.
You can see evidence
all right,
of
so I'll
feces
give you an example,
and
right?
where the
This
insulation's
woman,
been
the
disturbed.
person
There's nothing
looking to buy the
unexplainable or
house,
strange
we'll
in
call
this
them
house.
the buyer.
Everything has a plausible explanation.
there's a
it's not
broken
uncommon to
glass
have
in
these
the
kinds of
kitchen.
things
Is
happen
the
in a
house
house of this
haunted?
age. It's called character. It has lots of
Right?
creaks
Fucking
and,
broken
and,
glass.
and bumps
That's
and
my
grinds.
point,
There's nothing
right?
wrong
So then
with
you
this
bring a
house
home
at all.
inspector in, and the home inspector says something like, well, it is plausible that that's a possibility. It's also possible that maybe the countertop was hot when the glass was put on it, and the glass was cold, and the thermal dynamics of the two different, and then all of a sudden the glass shatters. And that's my point. Like, what is the point? What are we talking about? So I think the bigger thing here is
It's just
that
crazy. He got paid.
to be a home inspector.
He's a home inspector.
Oh, I get that. I get that. Okay, I understand
The
that.
person thinks their house is haunted, and then the psychic comes in and she goes, "I'm getting a sense of a ghost."
Oh, that's who that other blonde woman was?
And then
Oh
the
my
home inspector
God.
comes in and debunks everything they just said.
All right.
It's my favorite show.
So to
Now they just need to bring in a
reference-
medium in there as well.
So to reference the blog and get back on topic, okay? Like we're gonna start right over, right? I'm kidding. To reference the blog and get back on topic, we were talking a little bit about, hey, is this a ghost or is this something that maybe
shitty
is
house.
reality? The good example is like, is it a poltergeist or is it just a draft in the property that's causing the door to swing?
I'm pulling up a property. I have
Here we
never
go.
gone into a house that was literally like this was falling apart as I was in it. Like we could have died in this house by just half of it separating.
This is the most dramatic thing I've ever heard. Go ahead, continue.
I have to pull up pictures because
We could have died.
it,
We could have died, everybody.
I'm not even kidding. And there's no way it's not under like it's under contract. I'm looking at. Oh no, that's not it.
We could have died.
Sorry, go ahead. I can't find it right now.
so-
There's no way it's under contract. The shit is literally splitting down the middle, and like typically,
Who cares,
bro. I'm telling you, nah, dude.
All right.
I've never been in something like this.
So is your property suffering from cold drafts? The question becomes: is it a ghost? Because oh my god, I keep feeling something on me.
You know what?
Or are you just not properly insulating your
sh-
property?
Well, I was gonna bring up Green Spring
What about it?
because it's like not as properly insulated. The walls are much thinner, so that's why your house in Green Spring is colder. But
Well,
I
that's
should
not a fair assessment of what we're saying. But
What do you mean? I could have just
what
called
we're
my
saying-
paranoid,
What we're saying
paranormal
is
fucking home inspector.
that in an older property built prior to 1980, let's just say, it was not common to insulate the exterior walls. And so exterior walls being non-insulated areas, when you are heating the property, it's harder to have a balance of temperature because you have no insulation on the exterior. That's not a ghost. I didn't have ghosts coming in attacking Christian at night where he's cold because, you know, there's no...
I don't
Stop
know.
it.
We didn't debunk it.
I debunked it just now. You know, things that you could do to mitigate that, you could have insulation installed into the walls. They can pump insulation into every wall cavity in the entire house. You could do that. It's not egregiously expensive. It's not cheap, but then you have to repair the holes in the walls from pumping in insulation. You know, the other pieces of the puzzle, you know, is it just a simple crack in the foundation, or are your floors creaking because there's someone that
You want to
died
see
in
a
the
simple
property?
crack in the foundation?
I
bro?
would love to
this
see a
shit
simple
is
crack in
right
the
down the
foundation.
middle.
I'd like to point out that I have clients that, as a profession, repair foundation
I
cracks.
can't believe this is bro. But like this property already needs so much work done to
Oh
it.
my gosh.
Okay,
Looks cute.
it's not.
Great. Love it.
I don't know.
Love it. Love it.
Literally-
Love the backsplash.
Bro. This crack literally might as well run to the master bedroom on the other side of the house.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. That's
And
not how
here,
cracks work.
there's cracks going all through the ceiling, and then this wall is basically going into the other part of the house, and it's
So is the house
separating.
haunted? Is that what you're saying?
No, but this just is proving the point of like, hey, you didn't do these things to your property.
Disagree. Continue. Show me the crack in the foundation.
They don't have any like great pictures here, but like it's literally where this like right up here where the roof kind of starts coming down. It's all cracked through here, and then you can literally see like with this thing that's going
you
up.
could see the foundation moving. I could see it right there in that picture.
This part of the house and this part of the house are completely going in different directions. This one's going down the hill and like literally leaving the other part of the house.
Yeah. Zip tie it together.
Stop playing it down. Stop playing it down.
Bro, here's the thing that people need to understand.
Here's the thing. They just need to knock this house over. 'cause
House
it's-
isn't falling down.
It literally was.
Okay.
Nah.
When you buy something, you repair it. As we're sitting in this house that's probably from like the 1800s over here, right? This building that we just bought, we renovated probably from the 1800s.
Bro, but it wasn't like half of it wasn't falling down a slope of like 25-degree slope downhill. Maybe a more aggressive, probably.
Like a black diamond.
Yeah.
Double black.
Yeah,
Double
dude,
back
it
on the
was-
black.
It was steep.
Oh, gosh.
And like I agree with you. Most of these times, yeah, you just need to patch some stuff up or like
Well, I think that's the
level it
biggest
out,
thing is
or
like
get someone out
a
there to
lot of
assess it,
people
but
have
I have
failed to do
never-
common home maintenance that these things can be prevented.
Bro, I have never gone to a house where literally it's separating down the middle and the other part is going down the hill. I have never. And I'm not
I think you're being dramatic.
I'm not, dude. You're lucky this is pending because we would go there this evening.
It's not that bad.
It is terrible. I'll text my client and see if they have any photos.
Here's the thing. In my experience, all of these home maintenance things are just deferred, right? And what I said earlier today was that it's not a ghost in the attic, right? Like that noise that you hear in the background. That's not a ghost in the attic.
That's a contractor.
That's our contractor making repairs to our office right this second, right? Like these aren't just random things that happen just because you don't know what they are. You have to investigate. So when you hear that noise in the attic, it's not a ghost. It's not, oh, the wind is really bad. You probably have a critter, an animal, a bird living in your attic because there's a hole in your soffit that you haven't paid attention to. And so, like, these are just common maintenance items that you have to mitigate in the process of just home ownership.
No, I agree with that, certainly. Like,
what is Frankie doing over there?
I don't know. He's drilling or cutting.
He's going to town.
Yeah,
that's probably what he's doing. Cutting something. Going to town.
There was a house that one of my clients looked at maybe a month or two ago. Mm-hmm. And, like, you could call it spooky, but it definitely just home maintenance that wasn't taken care of. She had, like, a flock of bats living in her attic.
That's a technical term. Flock.
And they had shit everywhere.
Yeah, bat shit. Hence bat shit crazy. That's you.
And they didn't, I don't know how they got in there. Maybe it was the soffit, maybe it was something else, but they had so many. And the previous buyer walked away for that reason, but it had already been sanitized. All the bats had already been gone. Like, it had been taken care of years ago.
Yeah.
And the buyer walked away.
So, you know, that's a good example of like the spooky scaries, especially in the process of buying a home. You see something and all of a sudden you're like petrified of it. A normal thing. I had a client that walked away from a property here in Hamden. In Baltimore, in Hamden, we do things with what we can, right? Like we work with where we are. And the challenge is that some of these homes are so tight, so small that they have crevices in the wall that they're utilizing now as HVAC chase, right? Because they're chasing the heating and air conditioning through maybe a crevice in a wall, maybe an old chimney stack, maybe an old a vent for plumbing, not the plumbing itself, but like the crack in the wall where the plumbing used to go.
Okay.
And the buyers got skeeved because they were like, oh, this is wrong. You can't do that. That's not the right way to do it. And it's like, yes, I understand and I agree with you. And that's not how we do it today. But that's how they did it when they wanted to install air conditioning in this property in the onset. Also, if you were to install proper air conditioning today, you would have better flow and better other things. I totally agree, but you'd also lose, 5.5 square feet from every floor and every room space because you're running, huge chases up and down the house. So there's a little bit of like, is it really spooky or can we mitigate our concern by saying, hey.
But I also feel like people are like critics too.
That's
like
what I
had
mean.
somebody come into Bragg Boulevard. It was a property priced so appropriately. We had done work to it on the market for 4 days. We had multiple offers. And one of the people comes into the open house and is like, that master bathroom grout or tile isn't great. It's going to start cracking. And I'm like, she did it 3 years ago and hasn't had any issues. It's been perfectly fine this entire time.
So
now what?
On that front,
and
right?
they're like, well, we used to lay tile. We do this, that. And I'm like, oh, you're full-time in this job. Like her husband was military. I don't know what her job was.
Right.
But it didn't look like she was a person laying tile every single day. But and I'm like, you're going to walk into the open house.
So in this example, I love that example. You see a problem during the home inspection. Let's just say it's flickering lights, or let's just say it's an outlet that is scorched. These are common home inspection issues. How important would you say it is? How necessary or how much of a concern is it for a home buyer to see those signs, those concerns? Is it necessary to have a home inspector recommend and refer an electrician before buying the house?
Not really.
Like scale of 1 to 10? 1 being not important, 10 being important?
Well, maybe like 5 or 6.
How does it change if it's a watermark on the ceiling or a slow draining sink? Like electricians, 5 or 6.
If it's a watermark on the ceiling, I feel like that's... I don't know. It really depends on what it is. And like the thing is, because I think this would be a better question for someone who has not bought a house yet or has bought a house and they're not a real estate agent. And the reason I say that is because when we walk through a property and I see one of the garage lights on the outside, sometimes there's 2 lights on each side of the garage. One of them's out and the other one's working. The inspector will note that and say, have a licensed electrician come out and evaluate and repair, blah, 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 blah. And then my client's like, oh my God, the entire electrical place needs to be, electrical unit needs to be redone. The entire box or panel.
Yeah. But from your perspective as a professional, you're saying that's like a 5 or a 6.
I would say it's even lower because I can, as a professional, I can recognize that and just be like, yeah, let's go to Home Depot. I'll get a light bulb. We'll throw it in there. You got a step ladder? I'll be there tonight.
I would say it's even lower. I would say it's in the realm of a 3.
Well, I certainly, right. I would agree with you.
Especially when it comes to these more common maintenance items. Like some of these things are larger concerns than others. And I think what I wish that I could dispel amongst buyers and sellers amongst the world would be these items are deferred maintenance items. So from a seller standpoint, what are you doing and why are you not maintaining that the proper way? I understand that it costs money to hire an electrician, but it literally costs nothing to take a light bulb out of the garage that you probably already own. Yeah. And if you don't own it, go ask the neighbor for some light bulbs. When they came over and borrowed some sugar, you're trading backwards, right? Like get a light bulb from them and replace the light bulb. Like these are common maintenance things. These are not large concerns, in my opinion.
No, they're not, right? But I'm trying to answer it from like a perspective of maybe like a buyer walking.
No, I'm thinking from like...
Right, but from a professional, I would say, yeah, a 2 or a 3.
I think when I see some of these more routine concerns, I always wonder to myself, like, can we start our buyer tour at your house? Right? Like, let's go to the house that you live at, the apartment that you're living at, the rental property that you live at, or the hotel.
Literally, a reality check is right on here. Well, I guess that's a common thing that used through here, but that's basically what you're doing.
But like, let's start at where you live today. What does it look like today? If I was going to point out all the problems with where you live today, and then let's go to the new house and let's compare and contrast. Because I bet you there's lights that are burnt out. I bet you one of those booby lights on your ceiling has 2 light bulbs in it, and you didn't even know that there were 2 light bulbs in it. You just thought it was dim. And I take it apart and I put a second light bulb in it. I borrowed it from your neighbor. Congratulations. And then boom, we've got more light. But then we go to the new house that we're buying and we're like, oh my God, one of the light bulbs doesn't work. And it's like the end of the world. Now, I'll also tell you that buying a house is a huge investment. It's a huge investment. It's not the seller's investment for you. It's your investment. And these are common maintenance items. Let's say that you go to the property that you desire to purchase. You find something that's large and scary, something like a flickering light bulb or some other concerns. And then you decide not to purchase that house. Well, was it the light bulb? Or was it just not the right house from the beginning? Because I bet you if it was the right house from the beginning, you're going to have light bulbs that go out in the future, and you're not going to sell it. You're not going to let it go back to the bank. You're not going to foreclose on the property because, oh my God, we have a light bulb that's flickering.
I think there are certain things like
giving myself a pat on the back.
Flickering light bulb does not equate to the entire
huge concern.
Well, yes, but like the entire house needs to be redone, or like we have to replace the entire electrical, right? As to where I think that water spot probably weighs a little bit heavier in people's minds, right?
So, like, what would be a bigger issue?
Bigger issue walking into a house.
And hearing the water spot, I'm like looking up at the ceiling. There's a water spot. I immediately like run up the steps. There's the sink on above it, and you're like, oh, there's a bathroom right above it. So it doesn't bother me. But
it wouldn't bother me either because you can, like, if I were to be able to touch that water spot and it's dry, I'd be like, okay, probably not an issue.
I just had a vision of like you being the pastor, the minister that did like the whole like, you're healed. I touch you and you're healed, right? Like I touch the water spot, it goes away.
Yeah.
The water spot is not a concern to me when there's a bathroom or a kitchen above it.
Right.
When there's not, maybe I have to connect the dots. Maybe the kitchen's over here. The water spot is halfway between here and the bathroom above it. Maybe it would make sense that there's a water spot, but maybe I want to look into that a little bit more. But the one that really bothers me is the water running down the wall. That I understand. We need a professional look at. That is a major concern. Where's the water coming from?
The things that concern me, I don't know. Like, I hate seeing cracked tile whether I'm walking through a kitchen or a bathroom. That is like my number one thing. Not number one. But like then siding where you can see it's like separating or very loose, or like there's gaps in between the siding. That's certainly something that I'm like, I'm a little uneasy about. But like for things that are like a flickering light bulb, it's just like the air filter that hasn't been replaced. And I'm not saying that these are big items, because they're not, because you can go to Home Depot and solve both those issues for under $50.
So let's say that you're going to meet with the seller. You're sitting down with this person. They've owned the home for 4, 7, 12, 15, 20, 25, 30 years, right? You're going to meet with this person. You're going to sit down and talk with them. Is there a value to asking the home inspector to come in before you put the property on the market?
No.
None?
No.
Erroneous.
I don't care. I'll stand by that.
Why do you say that?
It's the same reason I'm not going to have an appraiser come out there.
Don't you feel like if you had a home inspector come by and point out the light bulbs and the, tricky things and the things that are obvious, that are just common maintenance items, that you could have the seller repair those items and
what if you
defray
just
that
spent
concern?
enough time at your seller's property walking through and really taking a dive into what they've done?
Are you, Christian, educated enough to be able to inform the seller of these things?
Not entirely. Like, I'm not a licensed HVAC tech. I'm not a licensed plumber, right? But like, me and you have been into many, many homes as to where if I'm meeting with a seller, I'm walking through, there are things that I'll be like, ooh, we need to do this, or ooh, we need to do that, right? And then we also set expectations with buyers that we work with on the flip side.
So is
right?
it a fair statement? Sorry to cut you off. Is it a fair statement to say that if you were to choose to have a home inspector come to the property before listing it, you would look at that like a honey-do list, like a checklist of things to do. But in lieu of spending that money, what you're saying is, hey, I'm going to create a list of things for my sellers to repair their home to get it into the condition that I think it's going to be most marketable? Is that a value that we bring?
Yes, that I would say so. But like for the one garage light or like the air filter or whatever it may be, it's not going to have a significant effect on the way the house shows or the home's value or the offers that you get.
Ooh, counter argument.
Sure.
In the summer, I can agree with you. In the winter, everyone's looking at houses when the lights are on.
Okay, fair point. Very fair point.
So like I see what you're saying. I actually think that your biggest value in this conversation is like, hey, as a listing agent, I'm going to come to your property. I'm going to make a list of items that buyers are going to want repaired. It's not going to be everything from their home inspection report, but these are going to be the things that are going to preclude a buyer from making an offer on your home.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
And I want to have these couple of items addressed. And we do that all the time. I mean, we do this at a totally different level where we're bringing in contractors and having the house painted, having lights replaced, having recessed lighting installed where we can, to just bring it back to a little bit more of a modern position. But I think the other piece of the puzzle is, for anybody that's listening out there, that you also have to recognize that if your agent's not bringing up these things, they're not telling you, hey, these are the items that are going to be a concern. And we're not even getting into compensation and what that agent is worth. But I'm going to assume that agent is the one that you said, hey, will you take lower commission or lower compensation? And they were more willing to agree because they don't understand their own value. I think that
they're sheep.
The big push, they're a sheep in the conglomerate of real estate agents that's just following the herd. I think the real push is when you're hiring someone, you want them to be working for you, not just following your instruction.
Well, like there were things that my client on Bragg Boulevard would bring up to me, and she'd be like, "Oh, I need to buy a home warranty for the buyers, right? And blah blah blah. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need this, that, and the other." I'm like, No. You don't need to do any of these things. Telling a buyer you're going to pay for a home warranty isn't going to make them buy it any more or any less than when they're walking in the door and looking at everything we've done.
So if a buyer were to walk in the door, and let's transition this to like October scaries, right? Okay. If a buyer were to walk in the door, happy October, everybody. If a buyer were to walk in the door and they were to go, "Ooh, I can feel there's been someone here. There's a strong presence here." Right? I immediately go, "Oh my God, do you want me to run to the store? We can get some sage. We could sage this out. We could just do it."
Okay.
Right? If a buyer's like, "Oh my God, I can smell, I don't even like saying this word, but I'm just going to say it anyway. I can smell the mold." What do?
Well, are we in the basement?
Yeah.
Yeah, every basement is going to have some level of moisture in it. Here's a couple things.
You don't think that it's like the frogs coming to get you? You don't think that it's just like spiders coming at you?
I mean, shit, it might. I mean, what are you going to do?
I mean, I think I think the most pragmatic buyers that I've ever worked with are the ones that walk into the house. This happened to me one time, and why I bring it up, big kudos to Julie Boyden, by the way. She taught me about this whole thing. She goes, I can feel the energy here. Someone died in this house. And I was like, that's not creepy at all, Julie. And she goes, no, you don't think so? And I was like, it is now. And she laughed, and I said, well, you know.
Is she a medium or something? Or like, who is this
she
person?
She's just a teacher. Little teacher.
Okay.
So she taught me about saging the property and you know, doing their.
Have you ever saged anything like a house?
No.
Okay.
Except with Julie, right? And now I make jokes
fair.
about it all the time.
Yeah.
But there's a process to it where you like, you know, go through the house and you do your. That's not a prayer, but like whatever it is, and then you know. It was just interesting to walk into a property with somebody that was like, oh, I can feel it. And there's nothing that you can do as a seller to get away from that.
Have you called her crazy before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're crazy.
I feel like most of my clients are crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's my fault,
you know,
right? Like crazy attracts crazy.
You know who I'm thinking of? I don't know her name, but I can tell you a story. I think you might have been out of town at a real estate conference, and then I was showing her houses in the evening. Looking in Baltimore County.
How long ago is this?
Within the last year, certainly. I want to say it was last summer, last spring.
Okay.
And we were driving from house to house to house. And the first one we walked in, windows are broken in. The hoarder had lived there. It was a fucking dump, right? We go to the next home. We pull up to the next house, pull into the driveway. And she's like, did you see that helicopter flying in? I'm like, no. And she's like, did you see that undercover, like, what do they call it? Unmarked police car? And like, no. She's like, they know they're following me. They know what's going on in my city.
Who is that?
I can't think of her name. I cannot think of her name. I think it was the woman who the people that were buying her house were kind of shitty and rude.
Oh,
and she had.
I love Dana. I love her. She is a little bit of a theorist, right? Like she is a little bit of.
But
that.
I'm in the car. A helicopter flying over.
No. That's for sure her. But see, Dana has like the best heart in the world.
Oh, she was so sweet.
And so like if you're in her circle, she loves you. Like she is just so great. But her circle, she keeps really tight.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to let anybody else in because she's been given this impression of negativity from other people. So at first when she bought her house, she thought that it was She did. She thought that it was like ghosts. She thought that it was something happening in the house. She couldn't explain it. And then, low key, she started to learn that it was actually her neighbors.
Yeah.
She put up a camera.
Well,
and
no, I remember.
She started seeing things, and then she started listening a little bit more intently, and she realized that the neighbor was doing something like a DJ or something. And at first she couldn't decipher what it was, so she thought it was somebody out to get her. But then she finally figured it out, and I love Dana.
No, she's great. She's great. But that's just like what your story had reminded me of, and you were like, you probably do it to your buyers, like you like push them to be more crazy sometimes, which I
don't think I push them to be more crazy.
I don't say push. Push is the wrong word, but
I bring the crazy out of them. That's for sure. So
like
Dana and I walked through
level.
the property that she bought, and we did this thing where it was like, is someone living here? Is someone not? Is someone here? Is the house vacant? Right? And it was one of those where like, I was walking around like, hey, I'm a realtor, I'm here. And she's walking around. She's not walking with me. And I hear her going like, hey, I'm the buyer. I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to know what's going on in this house. Like she's talking to the house.
Yeah.
It was an interesting moment.
What is the craziest, scary, paranormal thing you've experienced?
Definitely without question. Without question. There's a little neighborhood in Baltimore called the 4x4. Okay,
I don't think I've ever heard of this.
It's a tiny little neighborhood.
Okay,
off of Bel Air Road, south of like Moravia Road. It's down there. It's in the city, and I walk into this neighborhood with an investor, I think it was, and this property was listed for like, let's just say it was $70,000. It could have been 100. It could have been 20. I don't know. Okay. And we walk in, and I go knock, 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 and At the time, I was a little bit more paranoid of like real estate world. And I think I had my cell phone in my hand, or maybe I had a flashlight in my hand, but something was hard enough that I was like banging on the door, like, right, pretty loud. Okay. And I was like, hey, my name's Mike. I'm a real estate agent. I'm here to show the house. Because you never know who could be squatting in these vacant properties. Yep. So I walked through the main level, and then I'm like, there's something going on. And there's some noise that I can hear. But if you know anything about me, I don't have very good hearing. Still. So, I'm going through the house. My client's behind me. I'm going up the stairs. I'm like, hey, my name's Mike, and at the top of the stairs, when you go up a Baltimore City row home, there's a bedroom straight in front of you. Yeah. All right. So I get up to the top of the stairs, and my head goes up to the top step, and I can start to see light coming under the window. So that or under the door, that the windows in the back bedroom are open. Well, not open, but not covered because there's natural light coming in. Yep. And there's a lot of natural light. And I'm hearing a noise, and I'm like, what is going on? Right? And I walk up the steps, and I get higher and higher and higher, and then my eye is at level with the floor, so I could see straight through. And I'm like, that's a lot of light. And I was like, there's a noise, and I'm hearing the noise, and it's getting louder, and I'm like, what is going on? And mind you, at this point in my career, I've walked in on people sleeping. I've walked in on people in the house, just like sitting in the house, just doing whatever. And these are houses that they presumably live in, so I'm not like coming up on somebody squatting. Right. But it's not uncommon for me to hear a noise and whatever. But this is weird, right? And I open the door, like I immediately crack the door to 4 inches. I don't do like the right. I crack it to 4 inches, and then I kind of like look in, and then I open the door. And in this particular case, I was so not ready for what I saw. I was not prepared for this at all. The noise, the light, the whole thing. The fucking back wall of the house was missing.
Oh, shit.
And the noise was like a pack of pigeons. Everywhere in this back bedroom. Like it was their roost.
Their spot.
It was insane.
Wow.
Like the floor was missing. They were coming under, like the kind of wall came like under and into that room. There were pigeon feathers everywhere. There was poop let's just shut that door real quick. I really wish that I had taken a picture, but it was so scary that I was like, I got to get out of this house. Like, I didn't even take a picture of it.
There are times when you walk into a property, you're not sure what to expect. You don't know if it's vacant, and you see stuff laying around. You don't know if people are there. And then, like, you hear some noises, stuff. You're just like, hello?
Yeah.
Hello? There's one time I was out in, I want to say Pasadena, and one of my clients, Zach and Orlando, actually were with me. Actually, they didn't have buying with me. They found something off market. But it was a house built by the Amish. And they built in like a shed as well out back. Now this person just stored stuff in it, blah, blah, blah. There was a tarp in the shed, and we were touring in the winter, cold as hell, dark as hell, at like 5 o'clock. There was a mannequin under the tarp.
Yikes.
And there was a leg just hanging out. And I'm like, guys? And they're like, what's going on? I was like, I don't know. And I had my flashlight. I got closer and closer. I was like, oh, wait. Okay, it's cool. We're good. We're good.
I feel like we think that these things are like relegated to the low income areas, right? Like it's common to find these weird things in properties that are vacant. It's common to find these weird things in properties that are low value, where maybe there's a renter tenant or otherwise.
This was like a $500,000 house.
Well, and I guess it's a mannequin, so it's not like
but like
weird.
But who just leaves the mannequin in a tarp?
Well, like here's the weird one for me. I was showing $1 million house to a buyer. Walking through the house. House is vacant.
Okay.
But if you know anything about me, right? Like if grandma leaves candy dish on the counter, I'm eating a piece of candy. It's just like a thing. Mm-hmm. On top of anything, I feel like it makes the buyers feel a little bit more comfortable. And I always say the same thing. She didn't leave the candy dish on the counter to not get eaten. I've even written notes like thank you, Yeah. So I'm going through the house, and I open the kitchen cabinets because you want to see how the cabinets function and how it works. And I open the refrigerator, and there's food in the fridge. Like, not a lot, but like, some to-go food and maybe some like sriracha or something. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, and I shut the fridge and I go over to the pantry and there's a couple things in the pantry. And then I go over to the laundry room and it smells fresh. And I'm just like, oh, this is kind of interesting. I look in the garage. There's nothing in the garage. I go out, living room, office, family room, dining room had a dining room table in it. Nothing in any of the other rooms in the house. And then I go to the fourth bedroom, like the one that sits off by itself. There's 2 bedrooms that Jack and Jill. There's one that's a primary suite. Then I go into the fourth bedroom. It had the door closed. I like open the fourth bedroom door. And again, I go like 4 inches. And then I'm like, oh, what's happening here? And I like open the door real quiet. The shades are drawn. Everything's black. And I go, I think there's someone sleeping in there.
Bro, this is straight out of like a fucking crime scene show.
It's the weirdest shit. And honestly, like, why is there some? And
sure there's not like a documentary about this?
What it was, the sellers, husband and wife, had gotten divorced. They had separated ways with everything. They had gotten rid of their furniture. They had gotten rid of everything. The only thing left was the house, and the one party was not prepared to move until they got the proceeds from their house. And so they were sleeping on an air mattress in the fourth bedroom, using the fourth bedroom bathroom. So when we did buy the house, which, by the way, kudos to those buyers for seeing beyond this, when we went into the bathroom was freshly used. There's toothpaste and toothbrush on the counter. Like, they were living in this one bedroom.
Yeah.
It was wild. And it's terrifying. Like, when you're not ready for it, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
When you know that, hey, there's a dog in the basement, you're like, oh, hi, buddy. When you, like, turn the corner and they're like,
yeah,
it's horrifying.
No, you're right.
Horrifying. Anyway, speaking of October, there's so many different things that are going on here in Maryland. If you guys don't know, we are having a home buyer brunch on October 19th. If you're not coming to the trolley tour this weekend, you probably should. You should reach out to one of us. We could tell you all about the trolley tour, why it's valuable for you, and you can earn $5,000 through a lottery. They give away $100,000 this weekend. Very crazy. Our home buyer brunch is on the 19th. And then there's a lot of things happening around. You've got the Fall Festival in Westminster. You've got the Small Craft Festival in St. Michael's. The Country Calling Festival. There's so many music festivals that will happen this month as well.
Pumpkin patch.
Bro, I'm all about pumpkin patch. And we have our pumpkin carving to be done. So if you don't know, make sure you do something fun. Fall is the best time of the year. There's a lot of family farms that are around. If you need a recommendation, reach out. I've got one in probably every single county, if not more.
Yeah.
And I'd love to help you guys out finding that. It's one of my favorite things to do. You can always read more about our blog on frankoliverco.com under additional resources. Go to the blog post, and you can reach out to me on Instagram at michael.frank____.
Any others?
Underscore. It is actually 4 underscores, but by the time you type in 3, you'll find it.
You can find me on Instagram at Christian the Deadhead, and we'll leave it at that.
Woo! We'll see you guys real soon.
Deuces.
What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. For more information on the housing market, Real Estate 101, how you can leverage your position in today's market, and so much more, click on the link below. If you like this video or have a burning real estate question you'd like us to answer, leave us a comment and let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we'll see you again real soon.